All right. And we are live. We are here. We're back with another episode of Always Almost There, day after show live. Hello, hello. How's everybody doing today?
I'm doing great.
And by everybody, I mean you, Neil.
I'm doing great. I'm going to look passively disinterested while I post this to Facebook, but no, I'm doing fine.
Amazing. I'm also doing fantastic. As of yesterday, I've now confirmed that my mother and I will be making the trip up to Dallas on Saturday. So thank you, Goose, for putting on such a fun show at Stubbs that my mother decided that she wanted to do that.
So just you and Mom?
Yeah, just my mom and I. My dad and Andy are going to a college football game here on Saturday. Which was already being planned for. So they're sad to miss another Goose show, but you know. And Saturday will be my 10th show, which is very exciting.
That's number 10. It's a milestone
since February. You know, pretty cool.
And cool. Dallas is going to be good. I have theories about how this tour is going to go. Mm-hmm. And you know, they kind of have one day on after a day of rest. We have a day of rest again tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I think
the day of rest is today.
Right, or I mean today. I'm sorry, tomorrow. I'm thinking in terms of AAT pod episode. Day of rest tomorrow for me. But
yes,
them today, and then tomorrow night we get some more Goose. It's gonna be something else. 4 more
nights, you know, and then that's it until Taboos.
I mean, yeah, 10 shows down already, which is outrageous. And then I think we're at like high 60s for the year, which is even more outrageous at this point.
It's nuts.
Yeah, it's exciting
and
stuff.
And as you can see, you know, he couldn't join us on the pod today, but he's contributing emoji-wise with that mushroom there. So obviously, before we get started, a word from our sponsor. Today's episode of Always Almost There is sponsored by Aversio Wellness. Aversio functional mushrooms are here to help right now, whether you are gearing up for a show, going to sleep afterwards, or recovering and restoring the day after. With a wide range of health benefits, Aversio mushrooms help you make the most out of the moment through the ancient healing properties in their highly potent fruiting bodies. The organic certified therapeutic potency and their planet positive refill system are two of the many standout reasons that Aversio is my choice supplement. Be clear, chill, balanced, energized, protected, focused, and calm in the moment with Aversio mushrooms. Use code STORMSOUND15 for 15% off your order, available to ship anywhere in the US or Canada.
Stuff. I need to get in on this game. By the way, I've heard enough of the pitches for the mushrooms that I need to get some mushrooms in house.
Yeah,
and I think maybe for next tour, when we're doing Taboos, when we're doing several shows in a row, I will try to stay chill and balanced because I'm going to need that, man. That's going to be a lot.
It's a good plan. They're great. I really like the focus ones, but. Let's get into last night's show a little bit. You know, we have a very special guest today, Ryan Legvold, who is also the current Fantasy Goose point leader for this tour. So, you know, we're excited to have him on because he was at the show last night. And we're also excited to have the opportunity to trash talk a little bit as we head into our final 4 shows of the run. And the fantasy race just gets tighter. So I think we should just bring him on.
Wait. Before we do, we talk a lot about rankings on this show.
Yes.
And so I'm going to rank Ryan's in Fantasy Goose. And right now, number 1 is Ryan Legvold. And then there's a huge gap. And then there's the other Ryans. Sorry, Molnar and Storm.
Okay.
So let's bring them on.
You know what? I just want to point out that I'm currently ahead of all 4 of the other Always Almost There co-hosts, but you know,
my name isn't Ryan.
They don't want to talk about it. So anyway, here's Ryan. Hi, Ryan.
Hey, guys.
How are you?
Number 1, Ryan.
I'm good. How are you guys?
Fantastic. Thank you. Team Ryan for the win. Thank you.
There you go.
Team Ryan.
We have more Ryans.
Well, you're aren't you third now? Am I mistaken?
Oh, I'm
third overall.
Third place now. I'm third overall. I'm beating Neil. I'm beating Jive. I'm beating D. I'm beating Kev. And feeling good going into this last weekend. Hopefully I can keep this momentum up. My only goal right now is to beat the other 4 of them. That's all I want.
Well, you're doing well there.
Yeah. Thank you. I don't think I've ever finished ahead of Neil, so I need to make that happen for myself.
There you go.
All right.
Well,
let's
let's talk a little bit about Kansas City.
Yes.
Talk to us about the venue, the vibe, the area. What was it like in Kansas City yesterday?
Oh, I can't say enough about that venue. It's a beautiful old theater, with all the cool decorations and ornate pieces you get with that type of place. Yeah, I'm not sure when it was open, but very very old, intricate. Sounded great, real nice vibe in there. I liked it a lot. I'd actually been there in 2011, but really didn't remember much about it. It was very impressive building.
Awesome. Yeah, it looked cool in the photos I've seen, and just in the video from last night. But what was the vibe? I remember last fall, Kansas City was noted as being one of the highest energy stops of the tour. Crowd was very excited. What was it like Tuesday night in Kansas City? Were people ready for Goose?
Oh, they were definitely ready, and the show at the Truman last year was my first show, and so yeah, definitely a high energy. This place was a much larger venue, but still had really good energy. I was down in the pit, so I didn't see a lot behind me. Obviously down. Yeah, it felt really good. I would say.
Awesome. Yeah. Sorry if Ryan's connection is a little spotty at times. He's in the car on the way back home and may drop slightly.
Yes, my bad.
All good.
No worries. No worries. It's fine. We got you on the road. We're lucky to have you. So we'll take any bit of Ryan Legbold that we can get.
Yes.
This venue sounds really awesome. Jive Goose
it is.
Was talking about, he's been there. He's seen a bunch of shows there. I think he was based out of the Kansas City area for a while. He had a lot of really exciting things to say about this venue. So glad you got to see it. And I
really liked it.
Amazing. Well, let's get into the show a little bit here. We open up with Atlas Dogs. The Indie Groove version returns for the first time since July, actually. Oh no, sorry, first time since Vegas in August. I am misreading the page directly in front of me. I'm a little bit dismayed that they went back to this version. I'm hoping they, it seems that they're at this point kind of balancing the two different versions of the song. But to me, the original version is just far, far superior. Ryan, your thoughts on this?
I agree. I liked it. I agree. My wife is a huge fan of the OG version, and we got the new version. We were in Vegas too, so that was our first Atlas Dog. So she was really hoping for the OG version, but it is what it is. You get what you get. I still liked it. It was still fun. Nothing, I guess, about that particular one stood out or anything, but it was a good time, good opener.
Yeah.
In terms of openers, that's what you want. A nice high energy song and get the party started. It's not something we're going to talk about in kind of rankings or jam brackets, but they don't all have to be, right? This one's pretty sick.
Right.
Great.
No green sleeves this time.
Great. No green sleeves this time. And then we get Born after this. The Born that we all thought was coming on Sunday at ACL, but Born is kind of settling into this placement now. It seems this fall of not being a jammer, which I kept thinking like, oh, there's no jam on another Born. But then I kind of thought about it more, and I'm like, you know what? Born is not a song that needs the jam. I don't think. Like it works so well on its own with just that melodic major key jamming section that they have on it that I think it just works on its own. Ryan, your thoughts on this Born in the second slot?
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying there. It's kind of like a Western Sun where, most of the time they probably don't jam it, but when they do, it's really special, kind of like the Born from Dylan. But yeah, it was good. I mean, it's a song has a lot of emotion, and I like the guitar coming out of it felt really emotional and good song. One of my favorites. A lot of fun.
Yeah, and if you're out on tour and you're expecting to see a lot of first timers, like you are when you kind of double your venue capacity, right, from the Truman to this show, you're going to want to play some of these songs. We were talking about this when we were talking about ACL, right? Like you just want the songs that people are going to really enjoy. And when folks are seeing Goose for the first time, maybe they don't want to see an 18-minute Born. They just want to see a little bored because it's a good song, and you want to slide that into the set, and you might not have room for the 20-minute version, you know.
Right, and the crowd in Dillon, I mean, you know, they were all pretty big fans, I feel like, so it seemed like an appropriate time to bust out something like that, you know.
Yeah,
Sounds
for
right
sure.
to me.
For sure. And then, you know, big surprise here is the third song of the first set of the show. We get an absolutely huge Wisteria coming out, which, again, really crazy placement. Ryan, what was it like when this started, and your thoughts on the jam?
Okay, so this was crazy because I don't know if you saw my tweet about the dude trying to rush the stage, but I'm like, we're getting into the jam, and all of a sudden this guy like plows into me. No, I have no idea what's going on. I'm thinking like, holy, this guy really must like Wisteria. He needs to get up front that bad, you know. And he gets all the way up, like right in front of Rick, gets 1 foot on the rail, is ready to jump. Security stops him, gets him under control, like turns him around so his hands are behind his back. And the whole time, I don't know what you guys saw on stream, but the whole time Rick and Peter are staring down, like kind of mouths open, like what the hell is going on right now. And they got the guy calmed down, and then they just let him go, and he walked out. But one of my friends talked to the security guard, and apparently the guy was having a panic attack and needed to get out of there, and he apparently decided the best way to get out was that direction, and security let him know, you need to go out that way. And I think he left, you know, and it didn't escalate into anything crazy, so it seemed to get handled well. And I feel like after the incident, the jam went into like the stratosphere after that. It was almost like, I have no idea if the incident played into it at all, but it sure felt like after it was over, they really took it to a different level. It was great. I was a little distracted at the moment, but it was definitely probably the highlight of the night, you know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, that jam is the meat of the show. It's, you know, if you're checking out that show, that's a pretty amazing one. And there are a couple pieces that I think were really, really good. And I think the story you just told, Ryan, explains a little bit for kind of how I took that jam in. Mm-hmm. Which is there's a section of Trevor just going absolutely bonkers on the synth bass. And it seemed like nobody knew what the hell to do with it. And like, did you get this vibe too when you were like watching it, Ryan? Like everybody was like, whoa, holy shit, Trev, like what's going on? And then I think probably right about then is when the commotion happened at the front of the stage. Because I think I know what you were talking about. There's a spot on the stream where Peter's just kind of like staring straight down into the crowd.
That's definitely
watched this twice last night. I watched it live, and then I watched it again at set break while I was waiting for set break to be over. And then the jam just kind of switches to something completely different from the track that they were on, to Rick doing kind of if Peter's switching to piano, then I'm going to play rhythm guitar and lead guitar at the same time, which was like a pretty cool jam where he would do like a couple strums of chords and then kind of rip a few riffs and then strum and riff and strum and riff. And that's where it really took off and got really, really good.
Definitely.
Pretty awesome jam. And like glad that, you know, a guy jumping the rail didn't completely throw them off their game, but you know, they've been doing it a while now.
It didn't seem like they missed a beat, even though they were clearly focused on what was happening. They never stopped playing, you know. It's like, or at least that I noticed it. It was a while though.
Yeah, no, there was a moment in this jam, like you mentioned, like Trevor going absolutely ham, and I think you guys were talking about it in the group chat last night. It seemed like they were all a little bit disjointed for a second, and so it could have been like Rick and Peter getting distracted by this guy rushing the stage, and also could have been like, oh my god, what the hell is Trevor doing?
What the hell is Trev doing? Yeah, exactly. And I think it's like both equal parts of both. Yeah.
And what Trevor was doing like gave me some real hope for a few seconds. Like maybe we're finally going to get a dark jam this tour, because, you know, as we all know, the jams have not been trending in that direction this tour, which is by no means a bad thing. It's just really interesting to look at how pervasive those dark themes were in the winter and the spring and the summer. And they were focusing on those adventurous dark jams. And then this fall tour, you know, they've gone back to that kind of classic Goose, lighter major key stuff for, you know, pretty much everything. So it's interesting to look at. I wonder why that's the case and if it's something they're doing on purpose. But, you know, makes you wonder if that guy hadn't happened, like, you know, were they going to follow Trevor?
Right. And, you know, when tours happen, and this happens with multiple bands, and this has definitely happened with Goose, there are themes that just pop up in tours just because of human nature and not because of decisions.
Right.
It's just what feels right. And this is a 14 show tour, and which is a small sample size, and it just could be like the vibe that they're feeling, the jams that they're feeling right now. And, you know, that's what's coming out. And I'm kind of tempted to see, or I'm excited to see rather, what's coming next. Because we got like a weekend of music coming up, and there's no telling what the heck they're going to do. And I think I said this before when we started, that I think they're lined up to do some pretty awesome stuff over this weekend. For sure. So after Wisteria, we get an absolutely fantastic segue into Jive 1. I love when they take it from, you know, an extended jam into the intro of Jive 1 like that. You know, another thing that comes to mind is the White Lights from T5 last year, where they did that. But yeah, just fantastic transition into the song. You know, and then Casbah, same old shenanigans to close out the set. What do you think these 3 songs to close out the first set, Ryan?
Ooh, started losing you there, but I think you were asking about Jive 1. Am I still sounding okay?
Yes, you're good. Jive 1, Casbah, SOS to close the set.
Oh, yes. Okay. No, I mean, they were all great. Jive 1, I guess it didn't stand out either, but I love that song. SOS is one of my wife and I's favorite. I feel like it's probably one of the more underrated Goose songs. Loved it. I was expecting like one kind of off the wall cover, which, you know, ended up being Casbah, and I loved hearing Jeff on the vocals there. It was a good time. I feel like I keep saying that. But yeah, I really enjoyed the Casbah. I don't know, because it was, yeah. You don't get to hear Jeff sing lead that often, you know. So it's fun. I mean, it was No American Woman, but
I agree.
I mean, Casbah's good. There's nothing to hate about Casbah, and I've seen 2 live.
Nice.
Which is crazy that I've seen 2 live. One in I think it was my second show, and then another at T5.
Yeah, are you talking about
Yarmouth?
Legend Valley 2020?
No, Yarmouth. And didn't he sing
Casbah
in Yarmouth?
Did they do Casbah in Yarmouth?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I don't know if they did.
And then again at T5, he did it.
You're right, they did. I did not remember that.
Was that 9/11 or 9/12?
9/12.
Hold up. 9/12. So it was my second show. So I was right.
Yeah, 9/12.
And always good to hear Jeff singing. I had no idea really who the hell Jeff was when he was singing that at that point. But now I'm like really excited. Proud member of the Gong Gang. And I mean, it's a good cover. You know, it doesn't have to do anything crazy. Yeah. Fun. Sometimes having fun at shows is a good thing, despite what some members of this podcast would say. I don't know.
It's always good. It's always good when Jive's not here and we can just take shots at him with no response. And then SOS works at any point in the show. I think I would really love to see it used as an opener a little bit more. I think it would be really cool in that spot, first or second set, to get the crowd going. I think that would be cool. But it's a phenomenal closer. And
it's just a killer song, man.
Yeah, and I think last year's Kansas City version was the first one with the full Peter organ solo that they'd kind of been building up to over the previous few versions on that tour. So Casey gets the good SOS.
Yeah, Jay was tweeting about that last night.
And St. Louis too.
And St. Louis, Missouri likes SOS.
That's a Missouri thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not complaining.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if they're gonna play an off-the-shelf song, out of all of their songs, and there's a bunch out there that kind of have jam sections, but not actual full-blown jams that are going to type 2 territory or anything like that. This one's up there. This is a top tier Goose song that you're stoked to hear, and you're in for 10 minutes of a good ride. We get another awesome one, I think, in that same vein later this show with Turbulence, which is quickly rising in terms of my favorites up into the SOS area of songs that I know aren't going to jam out, but I really want to hear every time I see the band live. for sure.
Agreed.
For sure.
So set break at the venue, Ryan. What was set break like?
Oh, I mean, it was good. I didn't. I pretty much just hung out in our spot. Had a nice little crew of friends there, so hung out. Talked about the guy almost jumping the rail. Pretty much the whole set break because it was kind of wild,
Yeah.
I mean, I've been to a lot of jam band shows. I've never seen anything like that, And then, just discussing the first set. Pretty much, it was good. One thing too about that venue is really easy to get around and not a big long line at the bathroom. It was a good facilities. Everyone seemed to go back and get back really fast.
Yeah.
What's capacity on that place? Is that like 2,500?
I don't know. I do not know.
It just reminds me of the State Theater in Portland, Maine, a lot, which kind of has a lot of the same things that you're talking about, like plenty of bathrooms, plenty of bars. 3,000. So it's like pretty similar. Yeah. It's got an open pit on the floor. You got the balcony above, which is probably my favorite kind of venue to see Goose in right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's those are nice, unless it's like Worcester Centrum or Worcester Palladium, and forget that place. But
well, all right, let's get into this second set here.
Sure.
So Ready opener, always a good second set opener. Ryan.
Yeah, it was great. That was like kind of a song I've been chasing, I guess. So I had a lot of fun during that one. It was the most common song I haven't heard yet, I guess I should say.
Oh, that's good. I still need a jive to cross off my most common song that I haven't seen yet. So hopefully I'm not jinxing it by mentioning that right now, but maybe on Saturday or Sunday. Who knows?
It feels like
this weekend.
It's going to come this weekend. Hopefully it comes on Saturday or Sunday when I'm there. And then we get Seekers Part 1 and Part 2. Just like to point out that every single time I have picked Seekers on Fantasy, it has hit. 100% success rate.
I definitely was considering it, but I didn't pick it.
Ryan is not only a fine Fantasy Goose player, but very humble. So
you would be, you know what, Neil, you like to brag about your fantasy too. So
oh boy, do I.
There's no room for being humble in Fantasy Goose.
No, there is no room for being humble. It's all about trash talking your friends, and that's what's truly important.
Yes. I you know what? As much as we talk about Seekers being not being the best for this spot in the show, I still like the song. It was really funny. I was watching the stream in our hotel room. My whole family was around, and I mentioned something about how this isn't the best placement for the song always. And my mom goes, "Yeah, this is a late first set song," and I was like,
"Nice."
I was like, "Have you been listening to my podcast?" She's like, "No, you could just tell it's a late first set song." So my mom now has a challenge where she's going to make up a mock Goose set list based on where she thinks songs should be placed in a show, and I'm going to see how well she does. But that was really funny last night how she absolutely nailed that.
I am sure your mom listens to your podcast. I'm sure.
Well, she doesn't listen to every live episode.
Oh, okay.
And, she listens to some. But
sure.
Who knows? Anyway, then after Seekers, we get into Drive. Where is the middle composed section of Drive? It hasn't been played in many versions.
I don't pick up on stuff like that, but go ahead, Ryan.
Oh yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a interesting. Yeah, I thought the same thing. I'm not even sure. Did we even have the woe part in the Drive? Was it not there? I felt like I was waiting for it, and then I forget about it. I didn't even know, but yeah, it was still a good Drive. But I got to ask you, Ryan. I think it was Drive. What is Rick doing when he's down there playing with his pedals for a really long time? Is he fixing something? Is he doing something? I have a hard time picking out what he's doing,
Mm-hmm. He is what you would call dicking around.
That's exactly right.
He's just playing with knobs and buttons on his delay and looper and stuff to make cool sounds.
Sure.
Right.
But yeah, I think it's just he goes down, he's just like, "Ooh, I wonder what this will do." And
Right. I mean, he's got like four delay pedals or 5. I mean, who knows? He's like the Edge. He's got more delay
like,
than you can.
no,
like handle.
he's got like the
Yeah.
sauce drive pedal, and then like
Right.
5 delay pedals and 4
5 delay
pedals,
pedals.
like
Yeah. And like, so he's just tweaking knobs on all of those, and like a big, actually, and I'm glad you brought that up because it's the one note I have about this drive that I think was really exciting was the amount of tape delay in this, which is more than you usually get in the middle of a jam. Yeah. This was really cool. It was really, really, really fucking trippy. Very, very, very good drive. Probably not one that we're going to talk about for a very long time, but if you're there, that was probably really cool. So
yeah, for sure. Really I liked it. And that's funny because before that show, half of my shows I had a drive, so I had it as my fantasy 8-pointer, just kind of expecting it, just because I seem to get a lot of drives, and now
well played.
5 for 9 on the drives, which I'm not complaining about either. I mean, drive's a good song, so I'll take it.
Mm-hmm. It's like me with Delta disease at Fish shows. It's like I'm guaranteed to get one. If I go, they're playing it no matter what.
That's why I'm approaching. If I get a Modavon this weekend, I will have 4 Modavons in 10 shows.
Nice.
It's big.
Also not a bad thing.
Also definitely not a bad thing.
Yeah, I think it's the one that you want many repeats of, right?
Oh yeah.
That's fair. I could see that being the like 15-minute festival set closer on Sunday, but we'll see what happens. After drive, we go into Rosewood. Nice little When the Saints Go Marching In tease. Solid Rosewood, I think, Ryan.
Yeah, Rick likes that When the Saints Go Marching In thing, doesn't he? I've heard it a few times before. Yeah. But yeah, it was a great. I really liked it. Lots of bass slapping from Trevor. Like I felt like the whole night there was more bass slapping than I'm used to. And then towards the end of the Rosewood, I mean, it wasn't a drum solo, but I felt like they let Ben kind of go on his own quite a bit, and I really liked that. And I don't really know, is that a Rosewood thing, or was that just something that happened last night? I'm not 100% sure, but it's not something I feel like I've experienced in person where it would like Ben was kind of going off on his own. He was taking the lead.
Mm-hmm. I think that was a pretty unique thing that happened.
Well, he does have a section of Rosewood where he kind of goes nuts, and I think on the stream you don't quite get it like what you get when you get it live.
Sure.
But that kind of drum section does show up in all Rosewoods, but I don't think we at home experience it the same way people at shows experience it. So I've seen a whole mess of Rosewoods and live shows, and I do remember several times Ben absolutely ripping it up. Mm-hmm. And interesting thing, which actually is kind of brought up by this, is we haven't really talked about Ben much this tour. I think a lot of times when we talk about Goose Jams, we're like, this section right here, Ben goes absolutely nuts. And like, I wonder if that's the mix or, him just settling in and trying to kind of be part of the whole, sound. But yeah, we just haven't been talking about him a lot. And I don't think it's a bad thing. It's just an observation.
HDL Tube, they did peak the first Rosewood Jam last night. It was a pretty good peak. And Rosewood just snuck past the 20-minute mark, according to Bandcamp, which last night is already up on Bandcamp. Looking forward to it being on Nugs sometime this afternoon, so I can get a listen in to the Wisteria, the Rosewood, and the Drive. I think I'm going to go back to. Not sure where things are going to slot in, if maybe Wisteria is going to make the playlist. Not 100% sure, but I want to listen to it another couple of times before I decide for sure.
Indeed.
Yes. And then, so after Rosewood, we get Turbulence to close the second set, and then a Butter Rum encore. Ryan, your thoughts on these tunes in these slots?
Oh, also good. I think Turbulence is a nice set closer. I don't know why, it felt a little weird at first. Like the crowd seemed to die off a bit from that big Rosewood, but once they got into the jam, they all came back up. And then I like a Butter Rum encore, and there was someone with a sign, so I thought maybe like they had audibled into Butter Rum Encore because of this person with the sign, but I
But it
saw
was
a couple
not.
set lists. Yeah, it was on the set list already from what I saw. So it just kind of worked out for that person, I guess.
Yeah, just pulling up the set list pick. I forgot that I got they cut "It's My Life" cover
Yes.
from the second set, which was supposed to pop up there. Also, the "All I Need" that was supposed to close the second set, and they moved Seekers from set 1 to set 2. So they're moving in the right direction with the Seekers placement on the written set list. Had it late set 1 there, but yes, Ryan Molnar, Turbulence in the Shred Race. I love Turbulence.
Yeah,
I love Turbulence
it was good.
Too.
I think it is a good way to end a set. It was fun.
I think maybe based on how well they've been fulfilling sign requests, I may bring a really big Moby sign on Saturday.
There you go.
Yeah. There's got to be one coming on this part of the tour. Maybe ACL second show.
Yeah, but knowing my luck, they're going to play it on Friday.
That sounds about right. I can't believe they were going to play All I Need at this show. That feels like really, really, really short rest.
There have been some gaps this tour that have been really, really short. All I Need is actually on a 4-show gap right now,
which is short for that.
Oh, that's after last night, so would have been on a 3-show gap.
Right.
Oh, what was the Wisteria gap? I felt like that was kind of a quick turnaround too, or was it not?
It was 3.
3. Okay.
Yeah. So
I wasn't expecting that at all.
Nobody was. In fact, we didn't talk about this when we were talking about the song running through the set list, but I almost didn't believe it. And I don't think Jive believed it either. We were the only 2 people kind of chatting away. And I was like, can this really be Wisteria already?
Yeah.
Sure enough, it was. It was like Wisteria's a dead giveaway. When they start to play it, it's really obvious where they're going with it. Off of a few notes, so you can tell. But it just didn't seem right. It seemed almost impossible because we've had such huge gaps of that song this year. And same thing with All I Need, which is surprising why that was on the set list. 3-show gap. Similarly, Butter Rum did a bunch of big gaps this year. Also a 3-show gap. So interesting set list writing. And there's been a lot of short rest songs lately to kind of line up set lists, it seems like.
Yeah.
That's my guess as to what they're doing. But it seems like that's happening again, where they're trying to line up the bangers for the weekend.
I think they're just trying to mess us Fantasy Goose players up and keep it unpredictable.
Well, I think there's a little bit of that too. Like there is, we got to get these guys and really. They don't
want to make it easy on us.
Right. There are dozens of us, and our voice is strong, and I'm sure they're listening and trying to find a way to. He's guessing they're trying to keep us guessing. All a few dozen of us. There's a gross of us on any given night. Right.
Yes. Well, thank you, Ryan, for coming on and talking about the show today. We really, really appreciate you taking the time on your drive home to come on. It's been great chatting. And glad you had a great
thanks for having
show
me
last night.
Yeah, thanks for having me,
Ryan.
guys.
I'm honored to have the best Ryan on the podcast for the day. So it was a pleasure. It's good to kind of finally talk to you and catch up in person. We haven't done yet, so looking forward to seeing you at a show soon.
And we will see you. And we will see you at Goosemas, and we will see you out there on the last 4 nights of fantasy.
Absolutely.
We're maybe coming for you. How much of a lead do you have right now? 15 points over second
place?
Holy,
is it that much? I'm not sure. I know it was. I didn't quite catch what it was after last night, but.
He's got 19 on me. I know that.
I think it's around 15. Drive over here talking a big game. Enjoy first place while it lasts, but you're still like 25 points behind him or something like that. So you got some ground to make up, buddy. But yes, Ryan, thank you so much for coming on today. Drive safe.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thanks for having me.
Bye.
Safe travels.
Bye.
Well,
yes.
Can't believe we only have 4 shows left of the tour already. It feels like, it's gone by really fast.
It has gone by really fast. I thought when we started on this whole 18 days would feel like a lot. And it doesn't feel like a lot. I can't even believe we're here. I only missed 1 episode too. So Diesel Johnny wants to know what happened in fall 2020. I'm pretty sure I won that one too, but I don't know. Maybe I don't
know. Is there data for that one? I think I did okay. That was the first time I played. I may have done one night of bingo tour, but I had no idea what any songs were at that point, and I still really didn't. In fall 2020, like I remember getting really tripped up on Goose because I figured like, oh, the last show was only a month ago, so they're not going to repeat a ton of songs from that. And they repeated like half the songs from it. So,
do remember that.
But fall 2020, that was a while ago, back in the Google Form days.
Yeah, back in the Google Form days, and it was all easy because there were long gaps in between shows. They really only played on weekends.
Yeah,
those were the days.
The songs were just all predictable for the most
right.
part.
Although I do remember like struggling with that one, trying to get them, like thinking they would play Rosewood Heart again, and they just didn't. That's my memory of it. I could be wrong. I have to go look at the set list, but that was when I picked up. I started in fall of 2020 and saw that on El Goose, and I was like, well, I'll give it a try. And my brother and I went hard that season. We were obsessed with Fantasy Goose, and I guess I've been obsessed since.
I guess I really only started like really taking it seriously fall 2021, because for most of 2021, out of a desire for them to play it, I had the song 2021 as my one pointer for every single show. I also had Moby as like a 2-pointer, but that was only for like 5 shows until they played it.
Did you get it at T5? Did you get your 2021
one-pointer? Yeah, I hit the 1-pointer there, and I remember being very happy about that.
Yes, Danny, you were in 57th. I was in 57th. All right.
I may have been. Who knows?
Oh, Ryan was.
Yes, we had to fax Greg our picks.
At the central office of Jive Goose back when Greg ran it in Russo. Yeah.
Yes. Well, all right. We will be back here on Friday afternoon, 3:00 p.m. Eastern, to talk about tomorrow night in Arkansas, Fayetteville, Arkansas.
Yeah, the jam band hotbed of Fayetteville, Arkansas. I mean, this
apparently
is where everybody wants to go to play.
Every band plays there. I remember the first time I saw it on a tour, I was like, "What is that? Where is that?"
Right. Like, dude, like we can't get Goose to play a 2-set show inside the city limits of Boston. However,
or in Toronto,
Kansas City, Missouri gets a couple pretty dope shows in a year's time.
Fayetteville, Arkansas.
Yeah.
Like
I'm going to write a stern letter.
Yeah, they won't play in Boston, but they'll play in California like 7 times this year.
Nobody wants to play in Boston. I don't know what happened.
Well,
nobody plays there anymore.
Someday, Neil.
All right.
Someday.
Well,
we will see you all on Friday. Thank you as always for tuning in. Hope you have a fantastic day. Enjoy